Good evening, all. Everybody, good evening, and thank you very much for joining. I have a very wonderful book with me. A very nice book that I read a few days back. It's called "How to Win Friends and Influence People." It's a very common book. I think you get it you can almost in every bookstall or bookshop. If you visit, you get to see these things. It's one of the bestseller. It is called "How to Win Friends and Influence People" by Dale Carnegie. And I really like this book very much. And I initially went through this book long back when I was almost 15 years back, 15 years back when I first came in contact with that. But the principles of this book are relevant even, even after 100 years, it will be relevant because no matter how much we delve on AI, how much we talk about the artificial intelligence, everything nowadays we see everything is done by robotics, right? Most of the things. And it has placed a great impact on our life, our lifestyle, and vastly changing our day-to-day activities. However, there are a few things such as human nature that cannot be objectified. I mean, that cannot be. We cannot have an objectivity to it, right? Because these are very subjective concepts, and we do not know what is true, what is false at times. For an objective thing, 1 plus 1 will always be equal to 2. But when you talk about a subjective item, a 1 plus 1 might not be 2, a 1 plus 1 could be 11 also, right? So there are pros, there are cons in subjective areas, and human nature and human behavior is one such aspect which is not objective, which is subjective, and thus we do not know what could be the output, how a person will react when we give a certain stimuli to that person, right? When we say something to a person, we don't know how a person will react. Person A might react in a different way than person B, right? So it varies from person to person. So understanding the human psychology and delivering your message is very important in that context. So let's try to understand what does this book contains. I mean, it's a very exciting book, and it helps you to definitely to make good friends, and definitely it helps you at your workplace in your professional life to influence people, because at some point we all need to influence people, right? We cannot be always at the lower rung of the ladder. When we start working, yes, we are at the lower rung, we learn, and then we grow, right? So as we move forward, as we evolve from a lower strata to a higher level, then we will have lots of people who will be we will be accountable for, right? Or who will be reporting to us and we will be accountable for. So in those circumstances, we will need to influence those people, right? Influence the behaviors of those people. And these type of books are very helpful on those contexts. They will tell us how exactly to deal with the people, in a professional context, also in a personal life, right? So let's see what are the important context contents and what are the different parts. So basically, if I open the book, I see that the book is divided into three parts. Four parts. The part one talks about the fundamental techniques in handling people, right? The fundamental techniques in handling people. So fundamentally, how do we need to handle people? That's what the part one says. Part two says 6 ways to make people like you. What are the 6 ways that we need to adopt to make people like you? The part 3 says how to win people to your way of thinking, right? That's a great um, point, right? You are thinking in a certain way, right? And you want people to follow your way of thinking, right? You want people to follow your way of thinking. How do you persuade people? How do you convert them from their own way of thinking to your way of thinking? Not an easy task, man, but possible. There are ways of that, and I think there are 12 chapters dedicated to this particular topic, and we will be going through them for sure. Part 4, be a leader. Be a leader. How to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. How do you change people? Changing people, wow, it's a very tough. It's not easy. change people. Can you change people? It's super difficult, yeah. But yes, but you can change people. How to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment, right? Without giving offense or arousing resentment, right? So these are the four chapters, four parts in which it is divided. We'll go to the part one. We'll tackle the part one. We'll go sequentially because the book is written in a sequential order. So we go sequentially. We don't jump here and there. The first topic, part one, fundamental techniques in handling people. And in this particular, there are three chapters. Right? There are three chapters in the part one. The first chapter, here, it says, what does it say? The first chapter. So first chapter, let us quickly go to the first chapter. The first chapter is, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive, right? If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive, right? So what does it means? So it says that you should never. So ideally, the if you read this particular, it's quite a few pages long, but if you actually read this one, right? It actually means that we should never criticize. We should never criticize anybody. We should never condemn anybody, and we should never complain. So don't condemn. It's not condemn, criticize, or complain. We don't do that. Okay, that doesn't help, right? Criticizing somebody, does it help? Anyway, criticizing somebody is belittling somebody, is getting somebody, making them feel worse, right? That cannot make, if we criticize somebody over the face, then directly, then that cannot make you likable, right? That is not a good technique to handle people, right? Is it a good technique? By criticizing someone directly, forthrightly, it might not work, right? By criticizing someone. Next is condemning, right? You are wrong. Condemn that directly by condemning somebody. That also is not the right way of dealing with people. And complaining every time, right? This is not correct. This went haywire. What were you doing on that occasion? What have you done? You have just made a mess of it. I just can't believe that every time you're taking so much long time to finish this particular assignment. Why is it happening so much time to finish this project? You took so much time. Why this deliverable is taking so much time? And you always come late. You always, I see you hanging by the hanging out in the cafeteria, and you don't pay much attention to work, right? Complaining behavior, right? Is this going to help in the long run? Is it a good technique to handle people? It is not a good technique to handle people, right? The first chapter is that you should never criticize anybody, you should never condemn anybody, and you should never complain anybody. So that is the first chapter, and it gives few good examples here. Let me see what are the good examples he gave. Uh, yeah, let us see some good examples here. Yeah, so hmm, it gives Abraham Lincoln. There was an experience from Abraham Lincoln. Uh, yeah, right, and then I think they have Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, yeah, it is example from Benjamin Franklin that was given. I think I will not say everything here, so I will leave something for you to decipher and to basically get into it. So it's a very very good principle. The principle one: don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Let's now come to chapter 2. Okay, the next topic is chapter 2. Keep watching, inspire to live, and we come in the next topic. Thank you.